Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on video mine. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today we have the most special of all special guests. We have Skylander Gamer TV. He's here to talk with us
Yep.
about Survivor hot takes. Today we're going to talk about hot takes. Hot takes are takes that and not everyone's going to like. Don't get offended in the comments. Please don't come after us on social media. It's okay. Don't get offended. Basically, what we're going to talk about. So we're each going to have 5 hot takes. We have backups just in case we overlap our hot takes. But we haven't told each other our hot takes, so we're coming in pretty raw. And I think overall, it's going to be a really good podcast. Maybe we'll go for half an hour. Maybe we'll go for an hour. We don't know, but we'll see. Please, Skylander Gamer TV, introduce yourself to the stream.
Okay, hello. Yes, I'm Skylander Gamer TV. I'm a huge Survivor fan. I'm happy to be here, and I can't wait to talk about some of my Survivor hot takes because I do have plenty of ones that people do not agree with, and yeah, I'm ready to get onto this.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of a hot take. If everyone agrees with a hot take, it's not that odd, is it?
It's not special.
It's
not that special.
Yeah, if I was like the caramel and pre-merge isn't good, that's not really a hot take. That's kind of agreed upon. Or that the Heroes versus Villains pre-merge is really good. That's not really a hot take either. You have to get controversial. So Skylander's channel is going to be in my description. This is also going to be in his channel, and in my channel is going to be in his description. So we'll be able to see it on both of our ends. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Like, comment, subscribe. 76% of you are watching this video over on my channel aren't subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And if that's it, let's get into it. So I'll let you go first, Skylander, because you're the guest. You're the away team.
All right. Okay. So I know that that a lot of the Survivor community, at least online from what I've seen, really loves Michelle, right? They really love Michelle. They love her game, and they really hate Ben. I think Ben's winning game is better than Michelle's. I think Ben's winning game is better than Michelle. Now, granted, I don't think that I think they're both bad games. But see, with Ben's game, I think he won within the confines of the game. He found idols, and while I don't necessarily expect he had to play 4 idols in a row, that was at least in the confines of the game. Michelle won because Joe got medevac, which was not in the confines of the game. She had no control over that. Ben had control, I think, of his fate more often than Michelle did. Now, granted, he didn't have control over the fire making challenge. He did think he was going home, and he really should have been. But that was still part of the game, and now seeing that it is going to be used probably for the rest of Survivor, or at least for more seasons coming up soon. I think that Ben, while yes, his game wasn't good, I think he won. He made his fate more often than Michelle. I think Michelle won because Joe got medevac. I think if he doesn't get medevac, I don't think Michelle wins the game. I think she probably goes out at Final 5, and she's not on Winners at War. I think that while yes, Ben had to find idol after idol after idol, Michelle won over something she had absolutely no control over. She had no control over Joe getting medevac, and she also won more immunities. And I think I probably respect idol finds more than immunity wins. It's pretty close, but yeah, I think Ben's winning game is better than Michelle's winning game. So that's my first hot take.
So just so you know, guys, the person's gonna give their hot take, and then we're both gonna discuss, whether the other person agrees, and we can go back and forth for a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next one. So we'll have 10 hot takes in total. So adding to your point, Michelle, according to Post Game Press, was supposed to be the first boot of that season.
She was.
Had lost. Yeah,
I think in every single tribe swap formation or her actual tribe. I think she actually is the first boot of every single tribe she goes to, even when she gets swapped. She was, they did say, I think, who's the merge boot of Karang? He confirmed that though.
It's is it Nick? No.
It was Nick.
It's Nick. Yeah, you're right.
He was technically the first merge boot. He confirmed in a RHAP podcast that Michelle was going to be the first person voted off their tribe if they did go to the tribal council.
Oh, okay. So then even more. Now I will have to argue back. You say, well, Michelle lost because of things out of her control. I do have to argue. Ben didn't have control of the fire making either.
I do think that is. But I think that I'm going to say I don't think their winning games are good.
Yeah. But what I get it. What you're saying is you would rather someone get saved by like a game mechanic that they didn't know about rather than just a
Then
meta
yeah,
they
then
didn't
someone
know
gets
about.
saved by someone getting. Yeah, I think that Ben made his fate more than Michelle did.
Okay, cool. That's a good hot take to start out. My number one, I'm excited for this entire
Okay.
podcast is gonna be good. So
Uh,
my number one is that Aris is a top 5 winner. I sincerely believe that Aris. Now I
ooh,
didn't
I
rank
definitely don't
Aris.
agree with that.
Yeah, it's okay. So I definitely didn't rank Aris in my top 5 winners when I did it like about a month ago. But I've
Mm-hmm.
been kind of reflecting, and if he's not top 5, I think he's 6, 7, 8. I really do think Aris plays a good game. So he starts out on his original young men's. Right? That's what it was in that season,
Yeah,
right?
young men, even though it's
Yeah,
like not really, but yeah.
yeah. And for one time, and he was not going to be the first boot. I think it would have probably been it wouldn't have been Nick or wait, who? Okay, who are the two guys on
There was what Bob Dog, Nick.
Oh, he's yeah, Bob Dog. Bob Dog definitely would have been the first boot there, and so I think he's protected there, and he knows that they're not going to go down to 3 members with those tribes, which I think is great. On top of that, when he gets swapped in his Kasai tribe, he's able to get into the majority in a spot where Shane is the figurehead for his alliance, but he's the real person in control, and he has the closest bonds with Danielle, Shane, and Sari. The only person who he's not the closest with is Courtney, because Courtney and Shane are the closest, even though they're also the most craziest. But that's also because Courtney's crazy. And so I think
Yeah.
out of all that, it's good. It's good. I think he's able to bring Sari into the alliance because, hold on, I'll get to that later. So then
Yeah.
they hit, and so then and on top of that, he wins the challenges in the premiers to get the numbers at the merge. People kind of forget this because like everyone's so like infatuated with how crazy the Kasaya 6 was, but they put gong that Lamina tribe until Terry won challenges, and even then when Terry won, guess who took him down? Aris in the end, because Aris outlasted him. Now overall, moving back, they're able to pagong all of those Mina members until it's just Terry, and then from there, is it Courtney who gets taken out first?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yep,
it was.
yep. Which 100% that is Sari's move. That is all Sari. Now Aris does vote in the majority, so even when it's not his move, he's voting in the majority. He has control. Then after that, it's Shane who goes at final 5, but right.
Yeah, it's Shane.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Shane.
Yep. And so and right there, that's all Aris. He's again in the majority. Now after that, it's final 4. Is this where the fire making
That's
challenge?
what the fire making challenge
Yep.
between Sari and
Again,
Danielle.
Aris never in danger. He's not even in the fire making challenge, even though he didn't even win the immunity. Again, perfect on Aris's part. And then at final 3, even when his physical ability fails him and he can't win the challenge, he's able to get Danielle to take him, a person who easily beats her, over Terry. Kind of a wild card where maybe the jury doesn't like Terry because it's all Kasai members. No. He's able to get Danielle to stay loyal to him and take him to the end, where he beats anyone on the season except for Terry, and even then, I think he has a really good shot. In fact, no. I mean, I won't say he beats Terry just because Terry has such a good story, but he has a chance because the entire jury is Kasai members. And I think on top of that, he beats anybody in his alliance, including Sari. I think he beats Sari, and I think overall Courtney is the swing vote, and I think Courtney leans towards him. I think overall because Courtney was closer to him than Sari, although Courtney wasn't really close to either of them. I think because he was in the Kasaya 5, but before it became 6, but before Sari was. I do think that he has stronger bonds than Sari and ends up beating her in final 2 or 3. And so I feel like his game was suited, and he was able to stay the least crazy out of all of his crazies, and be able to be the figurehead of his alliance. And people didn't really realize until about the final 5 or 4, except for Terry, and he was able to shield off Terry, the most physically strongest person in the entire game, from blindsiding him with the idol. He was able to stop that the entire time, and I think overall he plays a top 5, 6, 7, 8 game. Rebuttal?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest. Panama is a season I have not rewatched in a while, mainly because I just find it pretty boring. But first of all, I think a lot of people give Ars credit for Danielle bringing him to the final 2. I honestly think that it would be incredibly stupid if Danielle didn't bring Aris. I think it was very obvious at that point that the jury loved Terry, and I think it was very obvious at that point that Terry wasn't going to win against anyone. I think that
I was Danielle, I would have brought in Terry because ours beats me because we're both Kasaya. We made the same moves, but he's more like one, has some more social bonds. Whereas in Terry is at least Lamina, so at least maybe they'll have like Kasaya bonds, and also he only has 3 people out of the jury. I believe the other 4 were Kasaya. So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, and also I'm gonna be honest. When I first watched Panama, I would have voted for Danielle. Now I think I would have voted for Aris. I just want to point that out there.
Yep.
I think that while Aris, he did beat Terry, I think that Aris actually kind of gets saved by Terry because Terry makes himself such a big target by winning individual immunities.
That's true.
Let's say Alamina gets voted out and Terry does. I think Aris might be the next to go, or at least 2 down the line. I think Aris gets that.
I think that's the flaw in his game is that he needed Terry to be there. But if that's your biggest flaw, there's a lot bigger flaws out there than you needed somebody.
Oh yeah, definitely.
A lot of people needed somebody there. Tony needed Spencer and Tasha to be there, or else he would have been gone Kagian. Who else? Ben literally needed production to basically rig the game for him. Michelle needed there's people who needed more, and I feel like there's 33 people who needed more to win the game than Aris did. And
I think that while I think Aris played a pretty okay game, because I think his final tribal wasn't the best. I don't think that, I think Shane just absolutely wrecked him, calling him a freeloader and stuff. I think that Aris, definitely for me, not a top 5. I can see why people think his game is a better game. I just feel like I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's his winning game is bad, but I feel like people have played better winning games. So I don't have him in my top 5 or even top 10 probably. I don't think his winning game is that bad. I just think people have played better winning games. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I think both of our sets have decent arguments for that. All right, number 2, you first.
All right. So obviously Sandra has won twice, right? She's the first ever 2-time winner. A lot of people consider a top 10 player. I don't think Sandra's one of the best players ever. Now, granted, she won twice.
Agreed.
That's something. I don't think Sandra's one of the best players because the reason why Sandra wins Heroes versus Villains is because she failed all the time. She tried to get Russell out time after time after time again and failed every single time. And because of that, she wins the game. All of her plans fail in Heroes versus Villains, and she wins the game because of that. And I think her Pearl Islands game is probably better, but she kind of just wins by default because Lil's there. I mean, I don't think Lil wins against anyone. Even Johnny Fairplay, I don't think Lil wins against anyone. I think Johnny
Fairplay beats anybody in that post-merge except for Burton, Sandra, and I mean, if you count Savage, even though he wasn't on the jury. I think Fairplay actually beats a lot of people. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. But I think Game Changers, where Sandra goes out 6, is actually Sandra's best game because she was way more proactive in that game. She played the game really.
Her best
and the
game.
Only reason why she does go home is because she gets swap screwed. And I think a lot of people think that Sandra's one of the best players ever. I don't think so. And I think that really cemented it for me in Winners at War when she played a pretty good pre-merge game. Besides the part where they get to the tribe swap, and she absolutely blows her game up. There is no good reason why she should give her idol away to Denise.
She was going to get to the merge because her idol was good for that tribal, and then she wouldn't. And then their tribe won the next immunity challenge.
Yeah,
with her on the tribe, when she
Yeah.
Player at that tribal didn't do anything with it. She wins the entire game and probably gets Denise's fire tokens. Denise probably gives Kim 1 and Sandra 1. So it's crazy.
She fills out the end of the deal. Because when Denise said, I'll give my fire token after tribal council, that should have been a big giant red flag for Sandra because when Sandra says yes to that, it makes Sandra's deal like not even that good. Like it gives Denise basically every reason to vote out Sandra. And then she quits on Edge of Extinction, which I don't like. I think she should have just waited till Merge to do it so she could at least be on the jury because the Merge was literally one vote after. And because of the way it works.
I will say that she did get probably like a almost I'd say like a 6-figure vacation for free on alone because nobody else quit the.
No one else. Yeah, I think she should have at least waited till jury. I mean, I get it. She did want to win. I don't think you should quit on Edge of Extinction though because it's still technically part of the game. Yeah, I just don't think. I feel like I guess you agree that like Sandra is definitely not one of the best players ever. But again, she did win twice. She did something right. But I feel like, especially in Heroes versus Villains, when she won, it was really not even up to her why she won, just because she failed every single time. And then she wins by default in Pearl Islands because she's sitting right next to Lil.
Yep. If I had to rank her, I would probably put her like top 25 or 30, maybe top 20 or 15. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, she wins twice, and that's her.
When I rank winning games, neither of Sandra games are in the top 20.
They're not games. In the top 25 for me. I think her Pearl Islands game is like at 28, and I think her Heroes vs. Villains game is like 33 or 34 for me.
That's around the same for me. Heroes vs. Villains game is in the 30s.
I think I'm trying to think like games that are worse than winning games that are worse than her Heroes vs. Villains game. I'd say Bob worse, Jenna worse,
Bob, Chris Underwood worse.
Chris Underwood worse. He got voted out.
That puts him at the bottom of my winners, even though I do think he's a better player than some others.
Oh yeah. Again, I was watching this guy. I think his name is Meridian Review, something like that.
Yeah, Meridian Reviews. He ranks him at the worst winners, but he doesn't rank him as the worst player as to who won.
Yeah, he ranks Chris Underwood as higher of a player than Sandra, and he's right because
he's right.
Sandra's not. She's not a legendarily good player. She won the game twice, so she's a legend. But she's not like her as a player. Her best game is Game Changers, which gets voted out sixth. Varner makes it farther than her. Jeff Varner makes it farther than her. That's crazy.
Well, to be fair, one vote further. But I guess you agree with me. But I feel like most people wouldn't agree with this. Oh, Sandra won twice. She's a legend of the game, top 10 player.
Yeah.
Both her games that she didn't win, she goes home pre-merge.
Yep.
Game Changers of it being the best, where she goes on pre-merge was because of a swap screw. And then I think the Denise move where she gives Denise her idol might be the worst move ever made by a winner ever. If it isn't the worst move made by a winner, it's up there.
I think it's one of the worst moves. I feel like JT's move isn't even close. I feel like I actually can really respect.
Yeah, if JT's move works, he might be the first ever 2-time winner. If JT's move works, he could very well be the first 2-time winner and not Sandra.
Yep. I mean, honestly, I think Brandon not flipping over. Or sorry, Brandon flipping over in Africa with Lex is pretty stupid because his tribe was able to get the Boran tribe to vote out Clarence, and then he flips back over with Lex. Even when they have Kelly Goldsmith got her to flip over and make a majority, like that was supposed to be the first flip, not the whole Nalia and Kathy flip and all that.
Yeah,
like the Africa they had gotten Kelly to flip over, but then. Because Brandon hates Frank so much because they're obviously their views don't line up. Brandon flips back over and ruins his entire game, and then he gets voted out directly after. I think Fincher's move in Samoa is pretty stupid too, with him flipping over.
Oh yeah, because there really was no good reason to do that.
I mean,
but still.
I think there's dumber moves, but I think it's definitely the dumbest move by a player that's in the top 30 players of all time. Definitely the dumbest.
Yeah, I think it actually is the dumbest move made by a winner.
Oh, winner!
I can't think of another winner that made Mike probably a bigger blunder.
I sincerely
maybe the auction Mike.
Think that, yep, I was about to say that because I never got that because so he says no, I changed my mind. But then Carolyn goes up to the auction and says, "Oh, I changed my mind. I'm going to buy it back then since he lied." And Jeff takes her money back, which means that they could have done take-backsies. So his move wouldn't have worked anyway. Even if he had stuck to it, if they would have just been able to trade their money back. I don't know.
It goes right back. Again, it gives him it when he realizes what he just done. I don't see any upsides to why he did that.
Yeah.
He still
We're getting
wins
off topic,
though.
but yeah, but
yeah, worst move probably made by the winner. Maybe Mike's auction move is worse. I actually don't think it is, but yeah, I think Sandra is definitely not one of the best players ever. I don't think she's even in the top 25 best players ever. So
yeah. I mean, for me, I can. That's one I can 100% agree with. Let's move on to my second one. I have Heroes versus Villains not in my top 5. I don't think Heroes versus Villains is in my top 5. I know everyone's like, oh yeah, it's like Heroes versus Villains. It's like Dave vs. Goliath, Pagyan, and then like Cambodia, maybe or not.
Okay.
Like, no, I 100% disagree. Give me a second.
That was one of mine. That was one of mine. I'm gonna have to switch mine now. Okay, let me switch mine out real quick. That was mine. That was literally one of mine. I had to. I'm gonna switch to mine out. All right, word for word. I put Heroes vs. Villains is not in my top 5. Really? All right, let me switch them out. Yes.
Yeah.
I put Heroes vs. Villains is not a top 5 season.
Yeah. So I think overall for me, it's like for me it comes down to there's okay. So first the first I'd say 3 votes. Where I believe it's Sugar, Stephanie, and then Randy. Sugar, Stephanie, Randy. Not entertaining me. I mean the premiere.
No, super amazing. Unentertaining.
Yeah, the premiere is fantastic because it's because it's Heroes vs. Villains, and
also James huge jerk on season for no reason.
True. Okay, so I'll go through the whole season. So first 3 reboots not entertaining from like the 4th to like the 4th until like Coach Boot, very good. Courtney Boot, not that entertaining. JT merge, fantastic. From the vote after the merge, where I think is it Candace or Amanda who goes home next?
Amanda. It's a Pagong though, so it's boring.
So when it's Candace, Amanda goes home, boring, and then the season then kicks back in the gear at the final 7 when they blindside Danielle. Very emotional. It's very good. It's Russell at his most evil. I love it. And then it goes right back down for Rupert and Colby to go because they have to get Rupert and Colby out because they're gonna win on jury vote because it's all basically.
And then Jerry goes home, which is very predictable.
And then Jerry goes home. Sorry, and then and then the finale starts at Colby. Colby goes home. And the finale is pretty underwhelming because Colby goes home. And the jury vote's interesting, but because it's Russell and Harvey, it's like they basically have all of the control over the vote. And so from there, Jerry goes home, not that entertaining. And then the final 3 is pretty disappointing watching the player who played really hard, but you know they're not going to win. And so now you're rooting for Parvati. And then Parvati loses because the jury doesn't like her either. It's very disappointing. So I feel like overall, it's like there's like from like the 4th boot to like the 8th or 9th boot, I think, and then the merge and the Danielle boot. Everything else in the season, the other half of that season, the first 3 boots, the Candace and Amanda boot, and then the Colby and Rupert boot. Really, just overall the Heroes tribe. Aside from Serene,
they really let the season down.
Yeah. Aside from the pre-merge for the Heroes, I think the post-merge Heroes ruined the season. Really, for me. Rebuttal.
I can't wait to talk trash on the season because everyone disagrees with me on this. Now, I think it's probably a top 10 season. Maybe not. Yeah. I don't know. Okay,
I probably put it at like 8. At 8, I'd say I put it at 8.
Probably 8. Yeah, probably 8, 7. Okay, I've been wanting to say this for so long. Yeah, I like dumb tribes, but sometimes it's too dumb. Watching the Heroes tribe vote off Suri and Tom was so frustrating. They vote off Tom, who I think if Tom makes it to merge, I don't think there is any way that Tom lets JT make that move. I think Tom is way too good of a player to let JT make that move. And they vote him out over James, who had like a broken leg or something. And I might add once they vote off. But once James goes home, the Heroes win every single challenge. I think after that too. And James just was a huge jerk this season too. Like when 70 went over, you said "shut your mouth." Like it was so frustrating to watch him. It was actually satisfying to watch James. And after the Tom boot, it was so satisfying to watch JT, Amanda, and Candace go home back to back because that move was just so incredibly stupid. It was so dumb. And then the Pagonging is just really boring. And while I do think it's kind of interesting that, Colby and Jerry go home back to back, it's kind of like fate or whatever. Like it doesn't really matter that much. And then watching Russell lose the game once again, and even Parvati losing the game to Sandra of all people. And like I don't get it. Like why? I think the coach boot is kind of interesting. I think there was something there. I don't like the Courtney boot was really boring. I think the Sugar boot was all right because this is a good premiere. She was just really crazy. She kind of sunk her own game. I mean, watching Stephanie go home second wasn't the best thing. I think it was always fate that Randy would go home third. Like, I kind of knew, like, right when they lost that challenge, like, oh, okay, Randy's going home. I mean, overall, I think the pre-merge is not that good. I don't like it, I don't think. But I think the merge kind of picks up.
I think at the fourth boot to the ninth boot is one of the best stretches of Survivor. But a season can't not be made by one stretch. The only season that's really made by a stretch is Micronesia, in my opinion. I think from the Eliza boot to the Eric boot, that entire stretch makes it the season. Without that stretch, the season's a top 20 season, maybe a top 30. But I feel like that's the only season that has one stretch that's really good, and the rest of it's just meh, and it's a top 5 season. The rest of the top 5 seasons for me, Cambodia, the entire season, fantastic. Dave vs. Goliath, the entire season, fantastic. Tagyan, the entire season, good. Like top 5 seasons don't have 4 episode stretches where it's just bad, or like 7 out of the 20 boots terrible. Like top 5 seasons don't do that.
And and just watching Russell make such like fantastic moves out of the season, just to lose to Sandra is like really just it's not a good payoff at all. A lot of the online community just hates Russell for like no reason really. I would have voted for Russell both times. Like if the entire jury phase was up to me, if I was the only person that would ever vote for anyone on the jury in Samoa and Heroes versus Villains, Russell would be the first ever 2-time winner. I mean. Yeah, I think the cast is really what makes this season. If this was just a regular cast, I don't think this season is good. But because of the characters we get,
because of how
it makes up for the season. Yeah. I mean, I've been wanting to say this for so long that I don't think Heroes vs. Villains is a top 5 season. I think it is extremely overrated, even though I would still put it in like top 8, 9, 10 or whatever. I don't think it's up there with the top 5. So
100% agree. 100% agree. Because so this is just some background on me as a Survivor watcher. I watched 5 seasons unspoiled about the winner. I watched Nicaragua unspoiled, Redemption Island, South Pacific, and then I skipped to Millennials vs. Gen X, and then I watched Game Changers. I watched all those unspoiled. That's 5. The other 35 seasons I watched. Well, I haven't watched Thailand. I'll never watch Thailand. The other 34 seasons I watched. I watched 100% spoiled about the winner, and so I went in with Heroes vs. Villains, like knowing like, okay, JT's gonna make this stupid mistake, Sandra's gonna blah blah blah. I know Courtney and Coach are gonna be in the jury because I remember seeing them in like a pre-and video, and I know all this stuff, and I was like, it's still gonna be amazing because it's Heroes vs. Villains. Everyone says it's really good on a rewatch and everything, and this and that. I was like, bro, this isn't even like a top 5 season, bro.
I know, right?
Jeff has it as his number 1 season before Winners at War. What are you talking about? What the heck?
Well, he was also on location. I think that Jeff Probst naturally is just going to be a little bit different because he was actually there on location. But still, I mean, although I do think this is one of the best casts ever, which is why it does probably land in the top 8.
I honestly think it's the best cast. I know everyone says Winners at War, but like the people on Winners at War who you don't care about, Michelle. So on. There's Michelle, Nick, and Ben. I take like your Danielle, who's like a male on the season you don't care about, like Randy, I guess. You're Danielle, Randy, and you know why? Because they all don't get to the finale. Michelle gets to the finale, Ben gets to the finale, Denise gets to. They all get to. So personally, I think
Mike should have been there instead of Ben. Just saying,
correct.
Been there instead of Ben.
100%, and I think that
it's a travesty that Ben has. I mean, Mike hasn't played again.
No, it really is, and I also think that Vesepia should have taken Michelle's spot. That's okay. We'll
I didn't want to see Michelle. But I think it's the second best cast. I still think Winners at War is the best cast just because they're all winners. But I mean, I can see what people don't think it. I do think the cast just have how good it is. It carries the season. But if this was a newbie cast, it would probably not even be in the top 20 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the Winners at War cast compared to Heroes vs. Villains? Just give me some thoughts on that.
I just think naturally it's the best cast because every single one of them is a winner. Like that's really I just think while yes there's some major clunkers like Ben and Michelle, I think it gets made up for the fact that you got Boston Rob, you got Parvati, you got Tony, you got Ethan, all players that go out pre-merge, but that we didn't know about that yet when we saw the cast. So Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. All right, let's move on to number 3. You can go first.
All right. A lot of people have Pearl Islands in their top 10 seasons, top 5 seasons. I don't think it's anywhere close to the top 5 or top 10 seasons. I thought Pearl Islands was kind of boring. I don't know. Like, it's just, first of all,
Wow,
I never
okay.
like it when a tribe
Okay.
gets decimated. I don't think that's fun to watch. So watching, people like Morgan like gets voted out at, like, I think the Burden was interesting, who's the fourth vote out. But yeah, I mean, I'm watching like tribe get absolutely decimated with players that I think I probably would have liked more than Drake. I mean, I know that you have like Rupert on Drake and like Johnny Fairplay on Drake, but I would have loved to see Savage make it to the merge. I would have loved to see Skinny Ryan make it to the merge or whatever. I mean, it was never going to happen, but yeah. And I just, after that, it kind of gets interesting. I think the merge is probably more interesting than the pre-merge. I will say the premiere is fantastic with Rupert. I mean, stealing all their stuff, but I think besides that, like, I don't know. Just, I feel like something's missing from Pearl Islands. And while you have Sandra there and you have Rupert there, like, it feels like something was missing for it to be a top 10 season, for me at least. I think there's stretches of it that are very boring. I don't like the outcast twist because I don't like it when players who got voted out come back. And I would have at least liked to seen what happened to the outcast, because we have no idea like what they did, why they were voted out. Like, we have no idea what was going on. Apparently they were on an island doing exactly like Survivor stuff, but we don't know. I think it would have been interesting to at least see what they were doing. Also Sandra winning, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth. I think Lil is super annoying. I do not like Lil. So like watching like her get to the final 2 and stuff was just bad. I mean, yeah, the dead grandma thing is good, but it doesn't even work out because Johnny Fairplay gets voted off in 3rd place, which leaves a super sour taste in my mouth. So that's what I think about Pearl Islands.
All right.
I don't think
Now let me give you
top
the
10
exact
season.
opposite. Let me give you a whole rebuttal. I'll give you the positive spin on everything you just said, because this is one that I disagree. I think it's a top 10 season for sure. I'd probably put it at 6 or 7 maybe. Okay. First of all, pre-merge top 10 pre-merge at least. I think all of the pre-merge boots. Yes. I think all of the pre-merge boots were great. So wait, first you have, okay, hold on. First is, well, except for the first one, I could care less. I could care less about the girl who wore a dress. Like, if that's the most interesting thing about you, you need to go to the doctor. But first you so you have that. Then you have Skinny Ryan. Skinny Ryan loved the okay. We'll do Austin, a great character.
Who quits?
Then quitting in the end, it's a great arc that he has. I think watching one tribe dominate another is depends on the season. I think with Matt Singh, it works, not necessarily on a rewatch, but I feel like overall on a rewatch, watching tribe get decimated is not fun. But the first time you watch it, I think it's pretty cool. I think overall all of the boots on after Morgan starts winning, I think the boots on Drake, because they had so much time to strategize, were actually really in depth. Like with the Burton boot was a blindside that Fairplay did, and so when Rupert got back to the beach,
like, one of the, remember when they
tried
to throw the challenge and she didn't throw the challenge? That's not interesting. It's dumb gameplay.
Wait, hold on. When they tried to throw a challenge, but what you said? What?
It was like the drinking one. Remember they had to drink something disgusting, and like that one goes like, "Oh, I can fake it because I'm really good at drinking disgusting stuff or whatever." And then she just like absolutely chugs the entire thing down. They didn't have a decoy target.
No. So they were trying. No, so they weren't trying to throw a challenge. They were trying to make the other tribe pick her as.
I mean, yeah. Sorry, I meant when they try to win the challenge.
Yeah.
When they're trying to win the challenge, so they had a decoy target on her, but she was just too prideful or something.
I think that's probably the second worst boot behind the first boot. I think her name's Nicole or something. But yeah, I think overall, I think overall the pre-merge is good. And then you give all this negative on the Outcast. So you talked about one, we didn't see them. I mean, we saw that with Winners at War. Do you want your entire cast to have a third less airtime?
I mean, I like Edge of Extinction more than most people.
Hold on, I'm not saying I like it.
Yeah,
just give me a second. So that Two, the cast ended up working because it gives you Burton and Lil, two characters that go far in the game and who add interest to the game. And then we go to the merge where we have a merge that isn't just a pagonging and that isn't just one tribe has more numbers or the tiebreaker. No, somebody actually flips. Oh my God, someone flipped at the merge. What? Is this Amazon? Oh my God, is this Kagiyan? And then on top of that, then I believe it's Rhino who gets voted out next, right?
Yeah, that's Rhino.
Okay, cool. Okay. So then, so then that's again kind of a boring boot, but at the same time, the seeds are being planted for a flip, and then they flip on Rupert. Great blindside. Rupert doesn't really know how to play the game, but you love him so much, and then you get connected to him. I think after that, then they flip again back. Then they flip back, which is super interesting, and it keeps going back and forth. It's very fluid. Sandra and Tawana going to check on Fairplay and Burton in the woods, and then Fairplay and Burton like leaving all the girls back at camp for them to then flip on Burton, and then Fairplay making Sandra and making Lil and Dara like go against each other, and then like Sandra realizing it. I didn't even mention the Great Lie. It's literally called the Great Lie for a reason. It's when you look at the reality TV show Smithsonian Museum, that's what comes up for reality TV. It's the biggest moment.
Yeah, the most I'll say that part. That part's pretty good, but that's just my point. I think.
And hold on. And then on top of that, just to cap it off, your villain, unlike in Thailand where the villain wins and therefore everyone hates the season, the casual love the season because the villain gets to go, but he gets to the finale. So you get the villain in every single episode, and he goes to the end. Now, me personally, I would have loved to see the villain win, but as far as like overall for the season, the arc works because the villain goes right at the end. So you don't get like your fan favorite, your Stephanie or your Rafe or your Rob C go out at third. And on top of that, the final two is probably the worst part of the season. But even then, Sandra giving an actually like one of the first good tribal councils, because early on they would always say, "Oh, I never played the game. I'm nice and trustworthy." They like pulled a Colby. Sandra, one of the first people to actually give a decent final tribal, at least in comparison to Lil. And I think overall, just going through the season, I do think this season is a top 10 season.
Yeah, I'm not a Rupert fan. I am not a Rupert
I'm not
fan.
either. I just think he adds something to the show.
I think he's a jerk, kind of.
Again, but just because someone's a jerk doesn't mean they're not a good character. I think for all of the reasons that people like him is what the reasons and the reasons why a lot of us hate him, including me, or not hate him, but don't like him. It makes him interesting. It makes it like he's a flawed person.
You don't need to see Rupert a fifth time.
He's a flawed person, and he always adds like character to the season. You can't deny the fact that he adds something to the season.
Yeah, he definitely did, but I don't know. I like villain winners. I like villain winners. I like that. I feel like a lot of the reasons why you like it, I don't like it.
Okay. Well, you know what? We can't argue forever. Let's just agree to disagree.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, so what, you have Pearl Islands in your top 10 at least?
I would probably put Pearl Islands. So if I have Heroes vs. Villains at 8, I think Pearl Islands is better than Heroes vs. Villains. So I'd probably put it at like 7 or 6, I'd say. I think David, I think at the very least, David vs. Goliath is ahead of it. Cambodia is ahead of it. Kagiyan's ahead of it. Millennials vs. Gen X is probably ahead of it by a little bit, or actually no, I think Millennials vs. Gen X is probably behind it. I think there's a good amount of seasons that I think when Winners at War is probably ahead of it, and I think, but besides that, it's Browns, and then it's Heroes vs. Villains, something like that. But
all right, okay, cool.
All right,
yeah. What's your next one?
Is it my turn? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
my third one. I don't know if it's necessarily like the hottest take ever, but when I look at people's seasons rankings, I don't see this season in the spotlight I'm going to talk about. We're going to go to Australian Outback. I think Australian Outback is a bottom 5 season, if not a bottom 3
Totally
season.
agree. Totally agree.
I genuinely, because like people are always like, oh yeah, Australian Outback, it's pretty average, if not like really good, because the cast, and no one's a dud in this cast, and it's like, yeah, just because no one's a dud in the cast character wise doesn't mean that it's necessarily gonna be a fun season to watch. I mean, you don't want 18 coaches around, although I would kind of like to see that one time, but again, you don't want like a bunch of like, oh, like they're not a dud. Oh my god, they're not a dud. The only dud is Nick Brown. Oh my god, like they're not like that. That doesn't make a season. That makes a decent cast. Just because like I will give this season this. There's not one dud in this cast. Everybody delivers something. Debbie, crazy. Kel, beef jerky. Mitchell, like Tina
He's
flips
tall.
on Mitchell. Yeah, like everything. Every character brings something on a season. Even Nick, he's the only regular person who isn't like crazy. And for that, it makes him a dub, but it makes him not a dub because of that. Like so, the cast is great. You have Jerry, you have Tina, Colby, actually generally good players. Now Jerry doesn't really play a good game. Tina and Colby do. But then Colby kind of gives it away at the end, and I think for that reason, I'm giving positives because I'm about to tear the entire season down.
Yeah.
So the pre-merge,
Jeff Varner and Michael Scoopin are here just saying.
Yeah. I mean, but I will say, Scoopin, fantastic character in the pre-merge, very fascinating, similar to Rupert. Like he's an interesting person. He's flawed in his own way, and he may not realize it, but he's kind of this Superman-esque figure on this season. Varner actually tries to play the game, but then makes a silly move at the merge and makes a mistake. Mistakes are always fun to watch. So there's positives, but then you have so the pre-merge
tear the season apart right now.
Okay, so the pre-merge, aside from the Mitchell vote, which I will say the only reason that the Mitchell vote is fun, it isn't actually because of the vote, it isn't because of something we saw on TV. It's actually a flaw on production's part where they don't have the players locked down yet. And after this, they start locking down players on the way to Tribal because Tina and Colby were talking on the way to Tribal, and so we missed that huge flip at the Mitchell vote where Tina and Colby basically held their games to the end. Then you have a bunch of kind of forgettable players. I mean, you have a lot of great character moments, but I don't watch Survivor for character moments. I watch Survivor for character moments and gameplay and social. I don't get any of that.
Yep.
For the rest of the pre-merge, it's just about voting off people who, one, aren't loyal, two, are annoying, et cetera, et cetera. The merge, you're like big merge vote where it's, oh my god, it's a tie. They just don't have enough votes, and we know who the two people are going to be. And after Varner steps off that thing, it's basically the most obvious merge vote, or not the most obvious, but one of the most obvious ones of all time. Then we have the post-merge. There's a few pretty entertaining episodes, but even then, it's just like, okay, Nick Brown's going to go home here, and okay, like Alicia's going to go home here. It's still Pagong, even though everyone says, okay, like it's good until the Jerry vote. Yeah, it is, but it's not really. And then the Jerry vote, entertaining, but we really don't get a lot of strategy, and we don't really get a reason why, other than the fact that they just don't like Jerry. And then the Amber boot could have been so, it could have been like really well edited because Amber had a chance to flip back over with the Kucha members at I think this is the final 6 or something like that. When like she could have grabbed Elizabeth and Roger and whoever else was left and gone with them and flip the game. But they don't even give us like the opportunity to think that happens. And then you have the last 3 episodes, which are pitiful. I don't care about Colby going through the jungles of the Amazon, or not the Amazon, the Outback, winning a car, and Colby and Jeff bro out. Like I don't care. I don't care. And I think overall that's my take on the season. What's your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think it's the worst season. I think Thailand takes the crown. But yeah, I think from the merge to the final 2, that might possibly be one of the most boring stretches of Survivor ever. Also, the finale only has 1 vote out. Why? Why does the finale only have 1 vote out? The Keith vote out, which is one of the most boring vote outs ever. I mean, I think the pre-merge is probably honestly better than the post-merge. Like, at least you have fun character moments like the beef jerky stuff.
So for those of you who don't know, we're recording this on Monday, and this will come out Tuesday tomorrow. But today, when we're recording this, and yesterday when you're watching this, my video will have dropped on whether I think that the pre-merge or the post-merge is better for each season individually. I'll go through every season and say I like the post-merge better for this season. I like the pre-merge better for this season. And for this season, it was an easy pick for the pre-merge, and even then, the pre-merge is not that good this season.
Yeah. I do think I agree with you actually on this one. I do think that it's extremely overrated. I don't care that half the cast has come back. Like a cast can ruin a season, and while the cast might not have ruined the season like completely here, I do think that there's a bunch of questionable stuff that happens in the Australian Outback. I think that like again the merge vote off till the Keith vote out is super boring. That is maybe one of those boring stretches of Survivor that I've ever watched. Like I was like, this is so predictable. And even when they do flip on the original tribe, it was predictable with the Jerry boot. where it was just because, oh, well, we don't like Jerry that much, so they vote her out. It just, I don't know, man. If something from this season was missing, it felt like such a boring season. I don't care that it's the second season ever. I don't care that half the cast has come back since this season. I think that it might be my fifth least favorite season of Survivor. I mean, at the end of the day, I love Survivor. I'll always watch it, but
put it
still,
at 37 or 38. I think Thailand, even though I've never seen Thailand, but from what I hear, this season is just deplorable. So I think
don't even watch it.
Yeah, don't even watch it. That's what I mean. So I think Thailand goes behind it. I think Redemption Island's probably goes behind it. And maybe if you want to put Island of the Isles, just because it's so negative. I think besides that, there's no argument putting it any higher than any other seasons. It's worse than All Stars. At least All Stars has a Boston Rob. It's worse than what's some other like we're generally like. It's worse than Fiji because at least Fiji has the Earl and Yaman. It's no. Yeah. It's a no. It's a no.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
right. Yeah. Let's see. So we have 4 now, so your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn. And that actually leads into my next one, actually, since you brought up Island of the Idols. I liked Island of the Idols for the most part. For the most part. There's obviously the one big part in it that kind of puts a dark cloud over the season. But if you really don't think about that, I think it's actually like a fun season. The Ronnie boot was so interesting. The Molly boot was interesting. The Vince boot was interesting. Yep. I think the Chelsea boot was kind of a clunker, and Tom. But then you get the Jason boot. Like, oh my God, it's so good. Then the Jack Blind side, amazing. And
it's a top.
If you just look at Kelly's if you look at Kelly's vote, at face value, like she gets voted off with 2 idols. That should have been such a humongous moment. But it was overshadowed, unfortunately, by the Dan stuff. And then I think the Jamal vote off is kind of, I don't know about that one. But then the Aaron and Missy votes are pretty fun as well. I feel like, for the most part, this is a pretty interesting and fun season to watch, just with one giant dark cloud over it, that being the Dan situation, which obviously is, not good. That's not good at all. I feel really bad for the season because I feel like it would have been such an amazing season if Dan wasn't there, and he was there. And I think Tommy's a good winner too. I know people don't like Tommy because he's boring, but if you just actually look at his game, Tommy played a really good game. And even the second place finisher, Dean, was so fun. And Nora might be one of my favorite characters of all time. She's so hilarious. Like, I feel like this season, it's there, but there's one bad thing that kind of ruins it.
I think the 3 things about the season that aren't good. So you have, and then the rest of it's great. The only 3 things that's bad is that you have a boring winner, you have Dan, and you have your fan favorites going out right before they're able to fight to get to the end at Final Four with Elaine at what is it, 7, and then
Jen I don't like the idol nullifier stuff, but
but besides that, I mean, I think overall it's probably like a top 12 or 13 pre-merge. I think the post merge is fluid enough. I would like it to be a little bit more fluid. Like I think Edge of Extinction with the one right before is a bit more fluid in it, because I do feel like whatever the purple tribe is a bit more on top in this one. I feel like it's more like it's less of like, oh, they're flipping back and forth, and more like, oh, they had a flip on the purple tribe and now it's back to the purple tribe. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I actually like the season though. So I mean, I know a lot of people put it as the worst season. I'm like, there's no way it's the worst season of Survivor ever.
I probably put it at 30 or 25. You have to put it down just because
you do have to put it down because of the dance stuff. I know, but I think if you don't look at that stuff, which I mean, it's a big part of the season, obviously.
Without Dan. Without Dan, I mean, and on top of that, you have Tommy and Lauren, like your duo of the season, and then you have Dean. He's lights up at the end. The finale is actually really underrated because Dan goes fantastic.
I think the finale is actually really good. I love the finale.
Idol Hunt was so fun to watch at the end with the colorblind. It was actually really interesting. And you have the fire making challenge with 2 people who you actually care about, and not like Angelina and Wendell. It's like both people you actually care about here. And so I think it's overall good. Is it my turn for 4?
Yep.
All right. My 4 is that I would have voted for Russell in Samoa. Not Heroes vs. Villains. I would have voted for Parvati. I think that's kind of the popular opinion. But so I think overall, my opinion of voting for Parvati and Here's Jones is pretty popular. But I do think, especially on Reddit and in a whole Reddit
is a bad place. I don't like the Survivor Reddit.
I don't like it. It's all, I think, so there's like politically correct. Politically, I think that there's like a survivorly correct, and I feel like the politically correct opinions for Survivor are like Reddit. Like it's all, oh yeah, like Michelle, like really good player, like Russell, ew, like what a troll, what else? Oh my god, Sari, queen, and then it's like what else? I mean, oh my god, Parvati overrated. Oh my god, it's all Sari, some of those I agree with, but it's become like a high man on Reddit. But yeah.
It's like a cesspool. It's like a giant echo chamber. You get that the same opinion.
It's like people thinking that, oh my god, we're so special. Like we're such a minority. Like, oh my god, we're fighting.
Also, hating on Survivor. The new season of Survivor is also pretty cool on Reddit apparently as well. But we're getting sidetracked.
I really don't even know. Yeah, but yeah. So okay. I think overall, my thought is that I would have voted for Russell and Samoa. I'm not in Here's Jones because I think overall Parvati has more control over Russell than Russell has control over Parvati, and so I do have to give Parvati, some props, because I'm all about control. Whoever has control over other people, that's super impressive, because you have a brain as a human. Like you have a free choice, you have all that, and if you're able to control somebody who has a human brain that's able to make their own, that's super impressive. And so I would vote for Parvati personally, but I can understand Russell as well. But I think with Samoa, it's not even close. Natalie's moves,
not even close.
And I'm putting air quotes up in the air because this is not really a move, but Natalie's moves are, making friends,
killing a rat,
making friends in the merge, killing a rat, and not being mean. Those aren't moves.
Let's go.
I know, and yeah, right. Oh my god, the best game ever. Oh my god, better than Cerise's Micronesia. No, I think overall it's her best game move that you could somewhat give her credit for is the merge boot, but even then they were probably going to flip on Eric anyway. It was just kind of edited in a way that made her look somewhat decent, even though the edit shitted on her this season anyway. I mean, at least edit her into the season if you're going to give me a shitty winner.
Yeah, give her more than 4 confessionals or whatever.
She should. I think she got 1 confessional in the premiere, and she didn't get another one until the 5th episode or something.
No, I don't think she actually got a confessional in the, or she might have gotten 1, but still, the winner of the season had 1 confessional. And
I remember when Russell was talking about his dumbass girls alliance. I think she was like, "I'm fine with being in his alliance because this and that," and so yeah, I think she got 1. Yeah. But yeah, I think overall, I would have voted for Russell. I mean, just to go through his game. Immediately, he takes control of his for tribe. They aren't able to see his villainous, which is fantastically impressive, because it's really hard not to see Russell Hance's villain type of character.
Yeah.
I think after that you have what is it? You have his tribe losing every single challenge except for 1 or something like that, and he still doesn't go. He's able to get down to 4 that all aren't going to flip on him at the merge and say, oh, well, what about Russell? He's able to get 4 like that. He beats almost all of them, and then on top of that, and then on top of that, he gets to the merge, the air vote, which is really him, not Natalie, but of course they edited it that way. And then you have the idol play with Kelly, fantastic. And then you have
one of the best blindsides.
At the final 10, now you have then flipping Fincher and then voting out Fincher to avoid Rox, which even then Rox would have been okay because he has idols for days. He probably could have played them on himself or whatever, so he would have survived anyway. And he didn't even need the idols. He would have been able to do it without the idols, except for the Kelly one. He needed that idol, but every other idol in the season didn't really need it. And then he gets to the end where he beats both Jason. I don't know if he probably doesn't beat Jason, but he beats Mick. And if he played a slightly different game, he probably beats Natalie, and he should have beat Natalie. So I think overall, I would personally vote for Russell.
100%. Not even close. I would vote for Russell. I have no idea what they saw in Natalie. Eric gave a speech about you can be nice and you don't have to. You can play a horrible game, but you played the best game.
To say it nicely, he was very intoxicated during that speech. If you didn't know,
he was. Yeah, I've heard after the season that he was like, you can be horrible with the game, but that means you're the best or whatever. And I don't get it. The reason I get it. I'll respect you more if you actively get your jury votes. But Natalie's jury votes weren't Natalie's votes. They were anti-Russell votes.
Anti-Russell. Yep.
And if you didn't know, they actually wanted to split the votes in the beginning. Like the jury was talking on Ponderosa, like they were scheming and stuff, and they were like, they wanted to like split the vote between Mick and Natalie to make it like more interesting vote or something like that.
Oh wow.
Then they were like, oh, this is gonna get confusing. Let's just vote for all the put on Natalie. I think they actually were gonna vote for Mick to win it originally. I heard, but then they were like, it'd be too confusing.
That common rumor is very false from Dave Ball himself. He said it's very false, like hilariously false.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. I mean, what the antics are going on there, but yeah, still. I mean, even with that though, like, I mean, I had no idea what they saw in her.
I didn't even mention taking advantage of Shambo's like outcastedness from the tribe. He's able to flip her so that it's no longer the faux 4. It's actually the faux 5. Like he's able to manipulate. He's not just good strategically. He's really good socially in this season. Now maybe his jury management wasn't as good as it needed to be. But I'm saying personally, if I'm on the jury, it doesn't matter what he does says to me, as long as he doesn't do how he did like to Russell in season 20. I'm voting for him, 110,000%. All right.
100%. I would vote for him. Okay.
All right.
My fifth one.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I think that Parvati's Micronesia game is severely overrated. I think it is severely overrated. First of all, Eric stuff, Parvati did basically nothing that I remember with the Eric blindside. I don't remember because like Jeff's like, oh, the Eric blindside, but like that was really all Sari and Amanda. And who was that one other person? Was it named Natalie? I don't know. But
Natalie White.
Natalie,
not White. Natalie.
Yeah, Natalie. Bolton. Parvati had the least to do in that the Eric blindside. Also, she's possibly the first vote out. I've heard.
Correct.
If Johnny Fairplay didn't quit, which is always going to be super damaging to your game if you would be the first person voted out of the game, and I just feel like. While like Jeff is always like, oh, she flirts with people and stuff like that, she's a good player or whatever. I don't see like really she only does that with James. Really.
Which
I just feel like she didn't have as much control over the game. I think Sari just outplayed her almost in every single portion of the game. And then Amanda realizes that there's no way she beats Sari, so she brings Parvati, who she loses to. But also, again, man, it's just a horrible final jury speech. I mean, she has horrible final tribal council abilities. Yeah, I just think that Parvati's Micronesia game, well, it's definitely not the worst game ever. Far from that. I think it is pretty overrated.
Not to mention the fact that she was willing to bring Sari to the end, who beats her in probably a 3-2.
Yeah. Sari beats her 100%. Yeah. Sari beats her.
So
she was willing and ready to bring Sari to the finale.
I have no qualms with that at all. Actually, I 100% agree with that. All right, my final one, and then we're gonna cut this off. It's I think we're at 57 minutes right now, so that's a long one. So all right, my fifth one, the idol and again, I don't know if this is unpopular or not. I know some people really like agree with this, and people don't, and so I feel like it's more polarizing than hot take, and so I guess this is a polarizing take. Is my last one. Idol No Fire is the worst thing to ever grace this show. Worse than Edge of Extinction. Worse than the Medallion of Power. Worse than the Outcast twist. Because at least those added something. The Idol No Fire gives the majority the power. The entire point of an advantage is to give the minority power. And that's the exact opposite. It makes for a 100%. There's nothing you can do if you have an idol. Because if we have 6 versus 1 and one has an idol, but if we have an Idol No Fire, there's nothing you can do. Except, I guess, play like a legacy advantage, which still I'm pretty sure would be able to be countered by I don't know Fire, which is just absolutely silly. So I think overall it's the worst thing to grace the entire franchise of Survivor internationally. Anything, it's the worst.
Yeah, I think production kind of gets that now as well. I think that especially after 39, they're like, maybe we shouldn't. I mean, I feel like a lot of Newt was like the 50-50 like immunity token or like the I don't know Fire. Like, do we really need these?
Nope.
It's just like such like obscure things. Like why would you have the 50-50 token where like you have to play it at Tribal Council, everyone knows you're about to play it, and you might not even get immunity. It's so weird. And like I think you say the I don't know Fire. I'm trying to think of one that's worse, but I can't think of a twist that is worse than the Idol Nullifier. It gives the majority the power to do whatever they
only
want.
one that's as close, and it's only because it damages the game so much is Edge of Extinction, just because someone can play 19 days or play 9 days and win the game possibly.
They can do a Chris Underwood, yeah.
But besides that, besides that,
I think if we're talking like advantages, not twists, if we're talking like advantages, it probably is the worst quote unquote advantage to ever be on Survivor, because it's just boring. Like, why, if the majority gets the hold, which most likely they will get the hold of the idol nullifier, it's so boring, because like it's just gonna make the person that would go home, and that's really that's boring. Like, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see predictable vote offs, but with the idol nullifier, it kind of does. And I think I get what Survivor thought, like, oh, the minority gets it, they can. But like, it's so
it worked perfectly in David versus Goliath, and that's the
but
only
like
way
that
it works.
the chances of that happening though in David versus Goliath, like that exact same thing happening, is so low.
And then even then when it happens, like, it's cool in the moment, but like really thinking back on it, like, oh, like they have it. And also in order for it, even in that perfect situation where the minority has it, they have to hide that, like hide the idea that they're going to play it from us in the edit, or else we're going to just know exactly when Dan plays the idol that he's going to get nullified. So
if the minority if the minority gets the idol nullifier, they can't do anything with that, because a person in the majority isn't going to play their idol if they have one. True. So even if the minority gets it, it's basically useless to them, because why would the person in the majority play it? Like, I don't know.
It's only good in the minority with a combination of an idol or a 50-50 coin or a legacy advantage.
Like, so many things have to go right for the idol nullifier to work. That's what I think about the idol nullifier. Like, so many things have to go right for it to work, and that chain of events happened in David vs. Goliath, and it was fun to watch. But the chances of something like that happening, where it's such a weird case where the majority is flipping on that at the same time the idol nullifier is being played, is so low to happen while the idol nullifier is in play. I don't think we'll ever see the idol nullifier again, and that is a good thing.
I can 100% agree with that. I think it's not only bad, it's terrible. Like, it's terrible, horrible, whatever you want to call it. I think it's bad. All right, guys, if you're still watching this, you're just a true fan. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, you've probably wasted a lot of your life on Survivor, and just like us. And listen, I mean, I'm proud of you. Again, just to reiterate, this is gonna be on his channel as well. Go sub to his channel. It's actually really good. I've seen a few of his videos. It's so worth a watch. He's gonna be on and off of the 41 podcast that I'm doing for 41. And if you didn't know, I'm gonna be live streaming 41 post-game shows after the episodes air. You'll see Skylander on there occasionally. You'll see other people on there occasionally. It's gonna be really, really good. Go check out his channel in the description. Link's gonna be there. And if that's it, thank you for watching, y'all, so much.